Everything old is new again. America's entertainment pop culture talk show.
It may well possess a rudimentary intelligence.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Felt a great disturbance in the force.
Hello, I'm Mr. Red.
Come on, Mark, like a job for me.
Where's the goodies?
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
I bet you wouldn't have done anything like this if Mom and Dad were here.
You filthy criminal.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Here are your hosts, Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
If I could, baby, I'd give you my world. How can I, when you won't take it from me? You could go your own way. Go your own way.
Welcome to Everything Old is New Again. We're going our own way here. Part 3 of entertainment that may have been overlooked or rediscovered during the pandemic. I'm here with the rather sanguine David Cohen.
Sanguine? You must have looked that up beforehand.
Of course, means optimistic, because throughout this whole time, this year during the pandemic, we've had to find new entertainment and activities.
That's right.
To do. And you could be, we could have all been down, and I'm sure there were times we were, but at least in this house, we were trying to be optimistic and saying, let's take a look at things that we've never done before that now we have the opportunity to do, like flying an Estes rocket or, looking into Svengoolie and watching some old movie and cooking with, from the internet and different recipes and things. So I don't know what you've done out there. I don't know. You did David Cohen 100% of the time, although you certainly spent time with us here on Everything Old is New Again. But there's a plethora of things that we've done here to talk about and enjoy here on Everything Old is New Again. Fleetwood Mac. I played that last week. We were talking about drummers, or the drummer of REM, and in general, drummers being not necessarily leaders of bands, and talking about how REM kind of felt it when their drummer retired. There's one that comes to mind, right? Mick Fleetwood, that certainly is a leader of this band, right?
Yeah.
And a talented band. I'm not so sure that they're my favorite band, I would say, but I've seen them in concert, and they're very professional, and they've got some good stuff. I don't know. What's your thought of Fleetwood Mac?
Yeah, I think for the time that they were popular, that Rumors album, wow, that was like all-encompassing for a while when they came out. And, of course, Stevie Nicks' voice to this day, still recognizable and brings back a lot of memories, a great voice. But again, it's like another band that, why do some bands seem to just keep on going and producing good stuff, and others either break up or, splinter off and then never quite the same again?
Right. I mean, they had you're right, the talent or the success of Rumors and Tusk after that, I guess you'd say.
And that was after they had been around for a while. A lot of people don't realize that they had been a band for quite a while before they really hit that super success level,
Right. And Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham were on their own, right? Before that, they were a duo before they joined the band. I remember that. Right. And, it's just an interesting story. I don't know that they're my favorite, but there's something that I don't think you hear and have heard Rumors very often, very recently. So maybe just something to look at, for the amazing quality. And it does hold up, that music on that album.
Yeah, I agree. It
really
does.
Good.
It does.
So now turning and pivoting to the Cub Scouts, Leo and I continued with our Cub Scouts as best we could through the pandemic. And at some point in time, we hadn't heard about the Pinewood Derby. What's up with the Pinewood Derby? So we inquired and realized that we almost missed it. That thank goodness we did inquire.
Well, you're going to have to explain, I think, to me and the audience what you're talking. What is the Pinewood Derby?
Yes, you've got to see this. If you're a Cub Scout, if ever were a Cub Scout, you know the Pinewood Derby. It's like that block of wood that they give you, that they then say to a 9-year-old, shape this block of wood into a car, and there's some wheel. We get you 4 nails, and you've got 4 wheels as well. Shape this, and you could use power tools if you want, but at 9 years old, you don't have power tools. So you're shaving this thing down and whittling it down, and you're trying to find out the proper shape of this car, and then you're going to put the weights in the proper location. Eventually, you're going to paint it, and you've got the bottom line is, kid, make a car, and we're going to race cars down a track. or you're going to race all the cars in the pack, which means probably, every kid from 6 to 16, you're going to race your car against, and they're going to have a Pinewood Derby. And it's the most exciting thing to create your own car and learn the techniques of where the weights are supposed to go and what the aerodynamics are and how do we win at this. So Leo and I get on YouTube.
Well, how is that? Can I just ask a question? How is the car powered? Like what kind
There's
of
no
car
power.
is
It just goes down. It's a good point. It starts at the top of a hill and it goes down the track. So it just goes down a straight track. And so Leo and I go, you know what? I got an idea. I remember doing this as a kid and coming in like almost last place. My dad never helped us. We didn't really know what to do with this. And now let's go back to the 1960s and 70s. We lived on Long Island. Grumman was here. Engineer city galore, if you will. I mean, this was the hub for engineers because, of course, they were creating the LEM lunar module. Yeah. So every kid's dad was, there were so many Grumman engineers on Long Island.
It's a little unfair.
Yeah, so we would go. It's supposed to be just the kids. We would go afterwards. I remember that my brother still has his car from back in the day. And
that's weird.
Yeah, because it was a cool memory. But the point is, we would make these things, and they still were kind of a block with just rounded off edges because, we have a file. What are you going to do? You have no tools. You're filing
like an old wood file, right?
Yeah, that's it. You're filing it for like every weekend for 4 weekends in a row with your buddies and trying to figure out what to do. And you don't know the aerodynamics, so you make a little seat for the driver where there's really no driver, but you make a little, so that's not aerodynamically proper or whatever. So you're trying to make it look like a car. And then you get to the Pinewood Derby, and it's almost like the red carpet as a kid. You put your uniform on, your scarf and all that, your badges and all everything, and you got your car with you. You're all proud of it. It's the Red Rider or whatever you named your car. Your car is a name, and you go and it gets weighed. They have to be weighed in. You got to make sure you're in a certain weight category. If you're over the weight, you're out. Okay, so you're looking at your butt, and there's a theme. This year it's the theme is animals. Next year it's comic book characters, whatever. So you're Super Spider-Man or something, right? And it's red, and you got the Spider-Man emblems on it and stuff. And you get there, and then you get these high hopes, like this car is pretty cool, man. It's going to be good. It looks great. And then you are up against, this is now the 70s, on Long Island. You've got aerospace engineers, and they couldn't let their kid do this themselves. They had to get involved, making their kid's car aerodynamic and so forth. And I wouldn't be surprised if they used the same lathe, the rudimentary lathe, or whatever they use to build the lunar module. That I wouldn't be surprised they snuck in this brick of wood and shaved it down at NASA.
So did you when you showed up with your cars and you saw the competition? Did you see right away it was over?
Yeah. They just, but you.
So it was actually the way, not the fact that these other cars were aerodynamically much better than yours, but they probably looked a lot cooler too, I assume.
Yeah, and they were painted with shiny paint and stuff because they used the gloss that helps as well.
That's not fair.
So you still have hope. So there I can put my car up there, and it's up against 3 other cars. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 5 other cars altogether, and it goes down. And then you realize you just came in 6th place. And
6 out of 6 cars.
Out of 6 in that heat. But you go, there's 6 heats. So I have 5 more heats. I just got to come in first, a second, a couple of heats. Those are the really good ones. And you come in 3rd, and you come in 4th, and you come in 5th, and you come in 3rd. You go, well, you know what? We're out. And then your blood starts boiling because you realize you're looking around and the dads are all the dads back in the day, the white shirt, right? With the horn rim glasses and the pencil in the pockets and the
pocket protector. Yeah.
And they've got their Grumman, badge, the lanyard. So, these fathers, and every one of them are on the podium winning. So, that these guys got, so I have that memory in my mind planted and I will never forget. And so you're trying to take revenge on what happened to you using your son to do it. Yes and no. It's not that's a good point. Let's put it this way. That is let's be honest. That is my thought. I have to temper, there's no doubt, but I have to temper that down. And I do not want to be that guy. I don't want to be the dad that did the car. So I'm not going to do that. But when we return, I'll tell you what we did, how we did it, how YouTube may or may not have helped us, how we made out this year in the Pinewood Derby. What they eventually did was we couldn't get together, so this year you sent the cars in or brought the cars in, and they weighed them, and then they did a video, a live stream of the Pinewood Derby.
Oh, wow.
Which was so cool. So we spent a Saturday watching the Pinewood Derby for about an hour and a half on the big screen TV, and eventually Leo's car would come up racing against this, that, and the other one.
That is cool. I can't wait to hear the rest.
Yeah, so we'll come back and let you know more about the Pinewood Derby and more right here on Everything Old is New Again. You didn't think you'd hear this story today, did you? When you tuned in?
No, definitely not.
But you know what? We're going for it. We'll be back right after this, and Everything Old is New Again.
If I could, baby, I'd give.
You're listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Hey, this is John Delancey, and I am listening to Everything Old is New Again with Douglas Viviani.
How about that? Here on Everything Old is New Again, no David Cohen.
What am I, chopped liver? What's going on? And who is John Delaney?
That's why he doesn't mention your name. If you're a Star Trek fan, Star Trek Next Generation, that is Q himself, who was on our show, and I interviewed him one Saturday afternoon. I think David Cohen was out frolicking about with the New Yorkers, and so I had him on board. Actually, I think that one was like one of these like Thursdays that you were working, and I was able to do it from home.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is he is going to be appearing now again on season 2 of Picard. So we're looking at...
Didn't know there was season 1. Good to know.
Yeah, exactly. So we're looking at things that we've rediscovered during the pandemic, and maybe we can continue with them or not. But the question is, that was my first question. Have you seen Picard? Do you even know what it is?
I have not, and I assume it's about Captain Picard.
It is.
From
and
Star Trek.
It's on CBS All Access. It was okay. I was extremely disappointed in the ending of that. I have no desire to see season 2 of it. However, now that a guest that we've had on the show will be contemporary, so to speak, he's going to be on that show season 2. The first point is, I'm going to be watching for John Delancey. Second thing is, should we try? Do you have any interest in interviewing John Delancey now that he's on a contemporary, active, vibrant, live show from 2000?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
As he shakes his head. All right.
Wait, you weren't supposed to say that you saw me shaking my head. No, that was the whole point.
Well, no, you do that a lot. You shake your head no, but you mean yes.
Oh,
no, you mean yes.
True.
Just one of those people. You shake your head no, but you really mean yes. I know what that's like. So that I will reach out. But here's my thing. I bet you $1 million now that he's in the know and he's making it again.
He won't come back.
He's going to say no.
He won't come back.
I will give it a shot. And I'm not
going to... We'll see what he's made of, right?
But let's be clear. I'm talking about his PR people. I'm not talking about him as a guy. And I think I have his personal. So if the PR people say no, because now it's within CBS, the PR department of CBS, they don't probably really, I don't know if they know or not who we are, right? So they might say no. But I'll go to him personally, and I bet you he'll say yes. That's the difference. As a guy, I think he's a good guy. I think he would revisit with us personally. The same thing with Anson Mount, who has a new show. He's Captain Pike in the Enterprise season 2 or Discovery season 2. He now has a new show that they're filming in Toronto right now called what the heck is the name of it? It's going to be the Enterprise with Spock and number 1, the female from the cage, and Captain Pike. All Good Things, is it? No. Strange New Worlds. It's going to be called Strange New Worlds. And so they're going to continue like the original show, like Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, visiting new planets, new things, and they're not going to have so much of an arc. So I think it's going to be a tremendous show. We had him on this show. He enjoyed it. Here's what I did. I reached out to his personal publicist and manager to get him on because he's the star of a big show coming up now. And he was on our show before all that, right? So I reached out and his publicist then circled me into CBS's PR department for that show. And they have, I'll go on the record, said that they will produce him. He would love to be on the show. He had asked him, and he personally said he would love to be on the show. So we know if it doesn't happen, it's not Anson Mount's fault, and I'll again go to a personal email to him. It could be CBS. But you know what? Maybe, just maybe, CBS will take notice of everything old is new again for these two guests and more.
Well, Doug, I hope for your sake he does come back, because you seem very, very pumped about it.
I have to be honest with you. I asked everything I wanted to ask her right now. I'm kidding. There's plenty to. That would be just a silly thing. You have them on and you just go, okay, do you remember that interview we had? Let's revisit that interview.
Yeah, let's play some highlights from the last interview during this interview. But can we? Do you mind if we get back to the soapbox derby story or whatever that thing is called?
It's called the Pinewood Derby.
Pinewood Derby.
I call it the soapbox derby too.
You left us with a cliffhanger. So
I did. So now here we go. So now flash from the 1970s, early 70s, when I've lost my pride, if you will, when all my buddies and I from Catherine Crescent, from the country village neighborhood, we called it, right? All of us was so hopeful. We all got together Saturday after Saturday, building our cars and all of this. But there was no YouTube. There was no internet. There were no books. You were guessing as to how to make this thing fast. What you're up against, the aerodynamic teams, or what would you say, the specialists from NASA and the engineers. So there was no hope. So now we're flashing from the 70s to 2021 pandemic.
And this event in your life is still gnawing at you, right? It's still like bothering you all these years later.
Yes.
Okay.
So I can't stress that more when I say yes. I don't know if it would be 3 capital YES, 3 capital letters with exclamation points after that. But I don't want to scream, but that's what it is. Yes, if you're reading the book. So now Leo gets, involved, and it's going to be
somehow Leo gets involved, right? But who knew, right? That he would have this same interest that you had.
Isn't it something? Yeah, Leo knew nothing about it. I made the call to the pack. I was the one that said, "What's up going on with the Pinewood Derby this year?" and so forth. So so Leo and I get on. First of all, the theme is going to be animals. So Leo picks out. He's going to be a meerkat. So you already know the name of our car is going to be the Miraculous. Or the Magnificent, I think it was the Magnificent Meerkat. So we're in good shape. We know we're going to do that. So now we go on YouTube. And we go, to my mind, there's got to be, these are all people. Maybe they don't know that there's YouTube, and there are people on YouTube that teach people how to make these Pinewood Derby cars and make them win, right?
So and just to be clear, it's the same piece of wood that you got when you were a kid, right? The same implementation,
100%.
Same idea.
It's a block of wood with 4 nails and 4 tires. That's it. And they go, knock yourself out, make it into a meerkat, so to speak, and you're off to the races. But with weights, they don't give you the weights, but it has to weigh a certain, within a certain range. Okay. So I buy the scale. I've got everything I need. I get all this stuff. Whatever. So we go on YouTube, and I go, this is it, man. No one's going to know this, Leo. You and I, we get some popcorn, we get some lemonade, and we got a pen and a piece of paper, and we take notes for a half hour, maybe 45 minutes, a couple of different videos. If you have 1 tire off the ground and it's only running on 3 tires, you're going to go faster. If you point it in so that it's riding the rail, it's going to go faster. And lots of, they call them cheats or hints, right? So we do that, and we're all like, okay, we know we're going to be Leo. We are going to be amazing. This is going to be the greatest thing. What happens? I then, like an idiot, I turned to the rules that were handed out with this block of wood, and every rule says or addresses all of these hints that you can't do them. So, so now I'm back to square one. I go, how am I'm done. I don't know how we're going to do this. Then it hits me. We have Uncle Bobby. Uncle Bobby has got every tool on the planet. This man, this guy in your neighborhood that you open the garage and he's got a lathe and he's got a saw and he's got whatever. I don't even know the name of these things. He can manufacture a car in this, in his garage.
So he's not an actual uncle. He's just some guy down the street.
No, he's our Uncle Bobby. He's my wife's brother. My wife's is my brother-in-law. He's my wife's husband. And you go, let's go to Uncle Bobby. He's got everything.
So your wife has another husband. Okay. This story's getting more interesting by the minute.
I'm too excited. Can't get it right. It's my brother-in-law. So here we go. Now, Leo and I show up with Uncle Bob. We explain to him all this stuff. We tell him what we want to do. We have a little bit of a design. We know where the weights are going to go. We've done some research. He pulls out these tools. I don't know what he's got. He's got this thing manufactured in 45 minutes. and, to the basics. And then we left it up for Leo to do the rest. Leo had to put the tires on. Leo had to put the weights in. Leo had to shave it down even more. Uncle Bobby just got it from a block to like a triangle, if you will. So there was a lot more work done. Leo painted it. I helped him with, guiding him through this stuff. But Leo did a lot of work. So we designed it together. We got the basics done. And I have to say, Leo did a lot. Let's call it 60% of the work was Leo. A lot of the busy work. The design was Dad. Uncle Bobby took a lot of the heavy weight of the block and made it into a triangle, if you will. But Leo did the rest. And here are the results.
Here we are with Heat 13. Leo Viviani with the magnificent Meerkat, Miles Baremski, Dylan Dreiss, Ethan Mohaber, Patrick Heffron, and Michael Kushner. And here we go.
2, 1.
There we go. Leo with the magnificent Meerkat. Excellent time. Almost seems like it accelerates on the way down.
How about that?
Wow, what a great set of races. Hopefully that was super exciting for everybody watching it, as it was here for sure. And now we get the great privilege of announcing the top 4 that will continue on into the council races later in a couple months. Coming in 4th place with the magnificent Meerkat, we have Leo Viviani. Hey. Congratulations, Leo.
How about that?
Great job, boys. Congratulations. Thank you again. And good luck in council championships.
4th out of 61 we came in. How about
wow.
That? And we have no idea how,
great.
if you're totally honest with you, we have no idea how we did it. They're going to gun for us next year, and we'll probably come out at 61 next year. 61th place.
So is there another round now, if I understand?
There's definitely another round. That is going to be a round that then took place 2 months later. And we came in 21 out of 82 cars. And in our den, they sent, or a pack, they sent 4 cars. We were the 4th. We actually leapfrogged over the one that came in 3rd. So we came in 3rd out of our den in all of Suffolk County. But if you were to say who's the 21st fastest car in all of Suffolk County in 2021 for the Pinewood Derby, it's the magnificent Meerkat.
Wow. How do you like that? You got your revenge.
I finally got the revenge. Leo got a smile. He's got that car upstairs on a placard on his shelf. He's excited.
And someday Leo can tell the story to his son about how Grandpa used him as a tool to exact revenge to correct a childhood wrong. That's a great story.
We'll be right back. Nothing to say to that. Complete and utter embarrassment.
Now, back to America's entertainment pop culture talk show. Everything old is new again with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
I was in the jungle, the bush we called it, for approximately 9 months. Sheldon, it was unbelievable. I saw things. They have tsetse flies down there the size of eagles. In the evening, I would stand in front of my hut and watch in horror as these giant flies would pick children off the ground and carry them away.
My God. All the things he told us.
Oh, it was an incredible sight. Peasants screaming, chasing these flies down the road, waving brooms. You can imagine the pathetic quality of this, waving these crudely fashioned brooms at these enormous flies as they carried their children off to almost certain death.
Oh, that is just the most horrible thing.
You took those slides of them that never came out, remember?
Of course not. We're here on Anything Old is New again, talking about entertainment that you may want to take a look at. That didn't sound too great on its own, but it is The In-Laws with Peter Falk and Alan Arkin in 1979. I think a funny movie. David Cohen, have you ever seen it?
Oh, I have. Yeah, there's a famous line I remember. I forget what the particular numbered street, but he says to himself out loud, "Oh God, please don't let me die on 43rd Street" or something like that. And you're being chased by the mob or something. It's very funny.
It really is. It's a really funny movie. Again, you're going to pull up, comedies on your on demand tonight. In-Laws is not coming up, and if so, you're going to get the remake from a couple of years ago, which was terrible.
And we've talked. Speaking of old movies, I think this is particularly appropriate now because there aren't a lot of funny movies anymore, right? I think that's just a fact base. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that. There's a dearth of really, really funny comedic movies compared to what it was. I would go back at least 20 years.
I agree with you 100%. It's very sad. It's a shame. And if you really look at this movie, you'll see two real comedic talents just going nuts, having a grand old time. And it's not all slapstick and what have you, but it is thoughtful, and I think you could say I haven't seen it in a while. I think it's family. I think you could watch it with a family. I don't even remember.
I think so.
I don't think there's even a curse in it.
It's harmless enough now. Yeah.
Yeah. It really, it's a kick. It is really, it's a funny movie. So there's something to take a look at. I mean, I really enjoy Peter Falk. I will always say, go back and look at the old Columbos as well if you haven't. They're well worth it. That's not comedy, but that's a very unique detective show. But Peter Falk was a comic actor. He was very funny in Murder by Death and in this movie and a number of movies, don't you think?
Yes. Yeah, totally.
And of course, Princess Bride, he was great and touching as the grandfather. So he was special. He was a good guy. Back to the race just for a moment. I just want to be clear that Uncle Bobby did not cheat or anything. Basically, every kid there. No, there's a couple that were just some blocks that went down. But other than that, every kid there, you could tell, had some kind of lathe or some kind of tool that they use to craft these vehicles. And
in other words, with the help of an older relative or friend or something.
And by the way, and let's be clear. That's what the Cub Scouts are about, is for the bonding between dad and son or dad and daughter. There's no doubt that you're supposed to work on it. This
is not revisionist history here.
No, you're supposed to work on it with your son or daughter, but you're not supposed to do it. You're supposed to guide them through it. But this task, you can't make a Pinewood Derby car without a tool. You really can't. It's not. Right. It's not possible. What are you going to do? Have your kid, whittle or use a what would you call it? A saw by himself at 9? You're not going to do it. You got to get him started. So Uncle Bobby just started it. Leo had to shape it from there. How to do the weights and so forth. So I want to be clear that most everybody, that's what it's all about at this point. Is a fun time with dad and your child, really.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. He did a lot of the work. I think for him, I know this could be interpreted as being completely about you, Doug, but if you step back from that for a minute, from Leo's perspective, I think just the overall experience, it sounds like something he'll always remember, and he'll remember fondly, and he'll remember you for guiding him to doing that. So I think for him, it's invaluable.
Yeah, I think it's fun, and I think we have the video too of the race itself.
Oh, really?
So in my world, 50 years from now, he's showing that to his kids. It'll probably never happen.
Plus, it was during right, and when he shows it to his kids, they're going to be talking about the pandemic, right? Because that's when it happened, and that's why it had to be on video. So he'll always remember it.
Yeah, I think so. I do, because I know we're up against a buzzsaw next year. Like there was a kid last year that did it. And we know his name. I won't mention it, but you'll say Johnny Jones. We were up against Johnny Jones. That was our, we were shooting for him. We wanted to beat Johnny Jones. So they're shooting for Leo next year.
He's like your Red Baron, right?
Right. I honestly don't know how he did so well. So we'll move on from there. But
you can also quit while you're ahead. There's something to be said about that.
No, but now this year I'm the den leader. There's a whole other story there. So
all right.
We got trouble. So anyway, how about cooking? How about during this pandemic? I know you did. You ordered those boxes in of stuff to cook. What do you call that?
Yeah, well, we were doing it before the pandemic started, but definitely ramped it up during the pandemic. Those meal kits that they send, Blue Apron, HelloFresh. We were doing that, and it definitely was a do-it-yourself, but also like a family bonding thing too, because we would make the meals together quite often. And you don't waste food because they give you just enough to make. But it was more about the experience and eating healthy, which was a big thing instead of just ordering in all the time. And during the, New York City at the beginning of the pandemic, there weren't many restaurants open, even for delivery. So you had to kind of fend for yourself. So that was great, and timely and very helpful.
I also do remember those days where you try to go on Peapod or these different services that would deliver from a grocery store. And Peapod, I know for sure, I can say this, we're not taking new customers. Like you couldn't even sign up and be new. You couldn't even get in the beginning. They were literally overwhelmed. I'm sure they resolved that, but that was so for a while. I was going out with gloves on and a mask to go food shopping. It was a little scary. I was
doing the same thing. We did a show on hot dogs, right? On what the best hot dog, and I remembered that show. So we were eating hot dogs and grilling them up, and just the way we talked about it on the show, that was a once a week meal for us for a long time.
And did you use the boar's head with the skin on it? You
betcha. When I went to the supermarket, like you said, with the mask and basically the whole 9 yards, they had it. I was like, oh my God, and the skin is on too. This is amazing. And I bought them up because I didn't want other people buying them.
Now,
so I bought like 5 or 6 and just froze them.
Well, they're also vacuum packed, so they do last a long time. Question is, what about Ben, your son, and your wife? What did they think?
Oh, they love them. They love them. I also bought, I think, another highly rated one was Huber National, right? So I bought those as well in the beginning. But the favorite was boar's head.
Yeah, that skin, is just the plump skin
good.
Like that.
It's so good.
Like natural casing, I think they call it. All right, couple of seconds here. So I pulled up Gordon Ramsay. And everybody likes him, don't like him. The show, he's screaming, he's yelling, whatever. But you know what? He's really a good, talented chef. And he has a series of videos you could do 10-minute recipes. I'm going to play this real quick for you. Just gives you an idea. He teaches you technique. He teaches it. Now, this is a very different. Think of your shrimp scampi recipe. And now listen to what he does and tell me if this is different. I think
That's right. Today I'm going to show you how to make the most amazing shrimp scampi in literally 10 minutes. Break that down. Now look what's happening. The tomatoes are disintegrating. The shallots are super caramelized. That garlic's disappeared. Chili flakes giving it the heat. I'm trying to create a really nice sauce. Now look at that. It's reduced down to a syrup. This is where it goes even more fragrant. Take your basil. Get your large leaf, okay? Get the small leaves. Tuck them inside the large leaf and roll it like a beautiful big cigar, okay? Hold it nice and tight. Let the knife do the work. So we're halfway, just under 5 minutes to go. Capers, a little bit of the acid and saltiness there.
There we go. So he gives you some technique for sure as how to cut the basil or the basil or whatever. By the way, you can grow that in New York City.
Does he yell at you if you get it wrong? That's what I'd be afraid of.
No.
Like in that show he does.
No, your wife will yell at you, I guess. Well, can you grow basil in your on your windowsill and all that in the city or up top?
We actually have a roof deck, Douglas, and we actually do quite a bit of gardening up there. So yes, we can certainly grow basil.
So good. So that's what he's talking about, not shaking it out of a can. You got you rolling it up like a cigar and cutting it up. Now, what about that recipe was different from your usual, if you even do it, shrimp scampi dish? Most people shrimp scampi put the shrimp in with butter and garlic, cook it, and you're done, right? Is that what most people do? David Cohen doesn't know. Usually, I'm going to tell you that he puts in there chili flakes or hot pepper and drum roll. If there was a drum roll, it should go on right now. Tomato. This is an amazing recipe. Tomato. Take a look at this recipe. Get involved. Gordon Ramsay shrimp scampi. It's amazing. We'll be back on Everything Old is New again right after this. He's got a bunch of them.
Today I'm going to show you how to make
it.
the most amazing shrimp scampi in literally 10 minutes.
Go.
Break that down. Now look what's happening. The tomatoes are disintegrating. The shallots are super caramelized. That garlic's disappeared. Chili flakes giving it the heat. I'm trying to create a really nice sauce. Now look at that. It's reduced down to a syrup.
Here with John Billingsley, and we're talking about the Hollywood Food Coalition. John, what is this?
Well, I'm the president of the board. We serve a hot, nutritious 5-course meal to hungry men, women, and children 7 nights a week, 365 days a year. Been doing it for 33 years. We distribute clothing and shoes and blankets and backpacks and you name it. And we help people access a huge array of other services from partner groups. And if you'd be interested in making a donation, hofoco.org, $3 buys a hungry person a great 5-course meal. HOFOCO.org.
This is Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
We got to get you out of here.
How?
I don't know how.
All right, we've only got one suit. Just listen to me for 1 second. Now, you've got the suit on, and you're a much better swimmer than I am, right?
What's the plan?
I drowned and you towed me back to the rig.
No.
Yes, this water.
No.
Only a couple of degrees above freezing. I go into deep hypothermia. My blood will go like ice water. My body systems will slow down. They won't stop.
Vince.
You told me back and I can be revived after maybe 10 or 15 minutes.
Oh, boy. What is that? Do you remember that? David Cohen, this is Douglas Viviani on Everything Old is New Again. We're revisiting here and going into another discussion here of entertainment that may or may not have been something that you discovered or rediscovered during the pandemic. That's The Abyss. Ed Harris, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, directed by James Cameron before Titanic. It is an amazing movie. It's thrilling, but that scene that and I'm not going to tell any more about that scene, but that scene, there are two of them underwater in a submarine that's filling with water, and there's only one suit of oxygen and whatever to get. So what do you do? And there's a larger submarine, like, a 10-minute walk away, so to speak. And it's amazing movie. It has a lot of special effects that are of interest towards the end. There's a touch of aliens in there, a great message. If you're going to watch that movie, watch the director's version. The ending is much, much better. They cut out things in the original that explain the movie to you. It's why it did not get great reviews. You need to watch this movie. Clearly, you need to watch this movie from the perspective of the director. In other words, the director's cut. Does that make sense? You can get that, right?
It makes sense, and my whole night's planned out. I'm going to go buy some tomatoes, shallots, and and then I'm going to make dinner, have Gordon Ramsay yell at me when I do it wrong, and then I'm going to watch the director's cut of The Abyss.
Exactly. And don't forget the shrimp. You still have to buy the shrimp.
Oh, yeah, right. I got to buy the shrimp.
Here's the thing. You're right. They talk about a 10-minute recipe, right? But you've got to get those shrimp. Usually you're getting them frozen. You got to put the water on them. You got to take the shells off. You're getting them uncooked, of course. And you still, I don't care. They say they're clean. They're not clean. There's still, on the other side, there's still that line that you've got to, the vein you've got to take out.
That black thing you got to.
Yes, you got to take those out.
Poop, I think, or something, right? It's not good. It's not healthy.
Correct. You've got to take those out. They don't taste good either. And so you're right. So the preparation certainly is more than 10 minutes. There's no doubt about that. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
Is it of interest to you?
And it took me 10 minutes to figure out what shallots are. Got to add that on. Shallots.
Shallots. Small onion kind of a thing.
Okay. No. I know what a shallot is. The shallots, I was a little thrown by.
All right. So here we go.
What were you saying before? Well, hold on. What were you saying before we came back on the air? I want to point that because it was very funny. We were talking about the cooking time, right? How it's not really 10 minutes.
Yeah, so we're going on and on. We're talking, and now the show has developed and morphed, it looks like, on the third show of these, maybe even earlier. It's just David and I just talking as we would do in a bar or whatever. And it's free. We usually have a little bit more of a script, or not script, but an outline. We're just going, and
then we've officially crossed the line into the blurred line. Now there's no distinction between reality and fantasy. So we think we're doing a radio show. Maybe we're not doing. Maybe you and I are really just talking.
We're just visiting. If you look at the YouTube, not the YouTube, well, because YouTube, we don't have the video of us. Let me put it this way. It's being recorded right now on Zoom. I'm not going to publish this, but if anyone was to ever take a look, you'd see David Cohen in New York City, me in East Northport, both of us wearing our white Everything Old is New Again labeled shirts.
Yes, and in case you ever do see this, I'm holding it up so you can see it.
And so we're trying to do a show. But what I said was like, but wait a minute, it sounds like we're just visiting. It's not really a show.
Yeah, because when we talk off the air, you usually say, okay, save it. Let's talk about it on the show. So that line is completely blurred. We just we just flip the mic on, like to press record. That's the only difference between you and I having a normal conversation and doing a radio show at this point.
Now, the question is it better or worse or the same as what we usually do?
I don't know. It's much, much worse.
All right, let's get back to it then.
The bar was pretty low to begin, too.
We got Mike Pacelli again. He's back. And he's going to talk to us about, and this is a YouTube star, so to speak, a guitar player, and he plays through for about 20, 25 minutes, and he pulls apart various artists, their songs, how they're playing the instruments, teach you a little bit about how to play the instrument. But even if you're not an aficionado or a guitar player, let's say, you can listen to this and hear so interesting behind the scenes of what goes into these songs. They're not just playing chords for the sake of playing chords, or simply just strumming the guitar. There's a lot more going on. Here's a little something about the genius of George Harrison. Again, I found this guy on YouTube. I enjoyed this.
Mike Pichelli here, and for this lesson, I'll be talking about the genius of George Harrison guitar. One of the most tasty solos I've ever heard in my life. The song is Something, and here's a close-up look at it. That solo has so much grace and style and just class. Chords go into D7. Now here it's a G7, and he thinks G blues. Or a couple of bends, bending the fourth. First he bends it 3 times. Then he bends it 4 times. And ends with the motif that he began with. And the signature lick. Absolutely magnificent.
David Cohen, does that resonate with you in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, it does. It's kind of cool to hear the solo broken down like that, because you're so used to hearing it over the years and really breaking down into its components like he was doing. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, he's really good. I mean, I'm not a guitar player, but I could see it. I could see what he does. I could see, and he's pulling it apart for all different artists. But at the Beatles, he loves to do it with the Beatles. He'll take certain songs apart, and again, all the different aspects. He doesn't do the drums, but he does all the others. The bass too, I think. And it's just, I don't know. It's very interesting to hear. Now you go back and hear the song, you hear it in a different way because you hear what they put into the song.
Yeah, and because it proves right there the great thing about George Harrison as lead guitarist is he would create another song based on the basic framework, right? So you've got the melody going, right? That melody meaning like the lyrics that you hear sung based on the underlying whatever chord progression. But when his solos come on, it's like he's creating a completely different melody, a completely different song, using that same groundwork. So it really is brilliant. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's very interesting let's put it this way. When you hear it now, it's just like, oh yeah, that's the solo, oh, that's perfect. Yeah, but how did you get there? It's not just, it doesn't just grow on a tree. He created a third aspect to the song besides the rhythm and the background. And I mean, it's just amazing. It's great stuff. So there's Mike Pichelli. Now, stringboarding off of that, or billboarding, or diving off the board, whatever, off of that into something that's relatively similar. ELO. I don't know how much of a big fan. I don't think you are that big a fan, but I just sort of got into,
definitely.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I sort of got into them during this time. Let's hear a little bit and we'll refresh your memory. We'll visit. There you go. You got Evil Woman, Sweet Talking Woman, Return to Stone, and Living Thing. And I'll, just before you get to it, the last song, Living Thing, when you've got the violin in the beginning and all that, had somebody at work and was saying, my daughter wants to, or has been chosen to play the violin, but gee, I don't know how to turn her on to it because we don't know any music or anybody who plays the violin. I told this person, well, go look up. Of course, Lindsey Sterling, but take a look at Living Thing, and the Hot Violinist, which we spoke about. But also take a look at Living Thing, the use of the violin in orchestration by ELO and Jeff Lynne is masterful, is it not?
It was my first concert I ever went to. That's how into ELO I was. And John Lennon was interviewed once and asked at the time if the Beatles were still together, which current band would they sound most like? And he said ELO.
I remember that exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that. What else can you say? But that was like you said, there was an orchestra, right? That they were playing rock music that was accompanying their rock music. That was the whole genesis. But Jeff Lynne ultimately became part of the Traveling Wilburys. You know, got very close with John Lennon, with George Harrison, and ultimately, you know, became a very successful producer in his own right. But yeah, remember the spaceship that a New World Record? There was that giant spaceship. So when I went to the concert at Madison Square Garden, they recreated the spaceship on the stage, and the spaceship lifted up off the ground, and there was the Electric Light Orchestra. It was just amazing. I still remember it.
You remember that he said clearly, and we're just about the end of the time here. We'll be back next week to continue. But he talked about too much. Yeah, sorry. No, it's all right. Yeah. He talked about how they would travel with that, and every other show they would have that because it was so hard to set up.
Really?
They couldn't set it up in every town. Every other town, they had to send it ahead of time.
So it was a coin toss for me, right? I got it.
Yes. How about that? We'll be back next week to continue talking all good things, and everything old is new again. Come on back.